Hello, my name is Professor Parish, and welcome to English 122. This is the short semester, so you all are starting this in the mid-October section of our semester, and so this class, English 122, is my favorite class to teach, so welcome. I'm super excited to have you all as students. It's going to go by really fast, this semester will, because we're starting midway through the semester, and so it's going to be a fast class. It's going to go quickly, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So what we're looking at is our course homepage. So if you'll notice on the course homepage, my goal for this video is to walk you through the class, go over the syllabus, explain the assignments for week 1, and kind of give you a layout of how the class functions, because this class does move quickly. So we have a lot to talk about, and so I'm going to try not to make this video too long so that you all can get all the information you need week to week. So on our homepage here, you can kind of see, we're going to go over this little section here in Module 1, but you can see some of these I've noted will unlock at certain times. So Module 2 will also be open. I try to open everything a week ahead so that you can go ahead and start working on projects and assignments if you want to work ahead. And so you can see Module 2 is open as well if you get a chance to start on it. Or you can just stick with Module 1. You can see the due dates that are listed there as well for the assignments. So let's go to the course instructor page. So this is the page that talks about our class. So welcome. This is my favorite class to teach at SIC. I love English 122. It's a fun class because for a lot of you, it will be the last English class you take in your college career. Many of you will never take an English class after this one. So I try to make it as comprehensive and as fun as it possibly can be. We're going to go over a lot of genres of literature. We're going to talk about short stories, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. We're going to talk about poetry. We're going to talk about drama. And then we're going to have a research paper at the end. So it's kind of a nice culmination of everything you've learned in your English classes so far. And hopefully it's a nice little capstone that you can say, if I never take an English class again, I've made it through 122. So as far as my contact information, I work as a high school recruiter and dual credit coordinator as well as teaching. So I am in my office sometimes, but my office is E132, but oftentimes emailing is the best way to get a hold of me. I do have my extension on here, so you can call, but email is honestly the best way to get a hold of me. I check my email every day, except on the weekends. I check it like maybe on Sunday, but I usually don't check my email on Saturdays. But I do check it throughout the week very much. So if you have a question throughout the week, I will get back to you very quickly. On the weekend, it may be a little bit, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday before I get back. But my email's right here, and that's the best way to get a hold of me. So these are our textbooks. This literature textbook, the big white one here, you need that textbook. It is mandatory. We take so many assignments out of it, so many readings. So if you don't have that literature textbook already, our bookstore is doing free textbook rentals. So get that textbook for free this fall. You just go to the bookstore, you can find it. They'll make you sign a form saying that you're going to bring it back at the end of the semester, or they'll charge you for it. And then you can have that textbook for free. So get this literature textbook. If you took English 121 last semester or a prior semester and you have this handbook, it's optional. It's a nice handbook if you struggle with grammar and mechanics and you need references and things like that, but we won't be reading out of it. It's just going to be a tool that you can use as a resource. So if you already have it from English 121, just hang on to it and you can use it and turn it back at the end of the semester. But if you don't have it, don't worry about getting it because I'm not going to reference it. So it's just there if you need a resource. So there's a little bit about me here. I'm from this area. I went to SIC. I went on to Illinois State University, got my bachelor and my master's degree, and then I just finished my master's in communications through Missouri State. So you're never too old to get a degree. Absolutely not. But I took like 10 years between 2 master's degrees, so it's a fun time. But I love reading and writing, and I especially love teaching both. And so this class is a really cool way for me to express my love of writing and reading and to talk to you all and get you excited, hopefully, about English. Or at least my goal is, if you don't like a genre, my goal is at least to give you an appreciation of it. You may not like it, but you'll at least respect and appreciate the genre. So that's my goal. And as always, there are no dumb questions, only questions. So don't ever hesitate to ask me if you have any. So that's our course homepage. I'll go back to this home link here. This is an MLA citation and source presentation. So if you ever have any questions about MLA, I made this presentation a couple years ago and I update it as MLA gets updated. So you can always reference it and it'll tell you about credibility of sources. And if you scroll down, it'll tell you how to do in-text citations. It'll also tell you how to cite, let me get down to a slide where it goes. It'll also tell you like how to cite in-text citations, like there's some examples there. And then if I keep going down, it'll give you like, do I use italics or quotation marks? I will count off in the discussion forum if it's not correct. So you might want to review that real quick just as a refresher. And then it also will show you the basics and how to cite books, websites, journals, things like that. So check out this citation presentation if you haven't already. It will stay there as a resource for you. So before we get to the module guides, before we get to all of that, let me pull this up here. Before we do that, I want to talk about our syllabus. You'll see on the side, the left-hand side here, there's a lot of different links. The only links you guys should really worry about is the home page. The modules will take you to this exact same page. The discussion forum, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Your grades. I am a professor that likes to keep grades updated, so I grade every week. So your grades should stay up to date throughout the semester. The people link will give you everybody's emails, including my own. And then you can go to syllabus and we'll talk about the actual syllabus of the class. The nice thing is that we do have a calendar feature. So you can actually, where's the calendar on here? Somewhere. But you can actually see when all the assignments overall are due. But let's talk about the syllabus. So the syllabus for the class is pretty straightforward. It's got my contact info on there. And then if you scroll down, I'm not going to read all the course objectives, but this class is really an extension of English 121. English 121, you learn how to write, informative, persuasive, argumentative, and this extends that type of writing into analyzing literature, which is pretty cool. So we do have 4 papers in this class. We have a short story paper, a poetry paper, a drama paper, and a research paper. The drama paper will be very short, a very short unit, because I try to give you a little bit more time to work on the research paper because it is longer. Your regular papers are just 3 to 5 pages, pretty manageable, double spaced. Your research paper is longer, and when we get to it, we'll talk more about it. But the idea is that you are going to be writing a lot of prose and analyzing these stories. So here's the class schedule. As you can see here, I've put down like what's going to be due every week. There's usually 2 to 3 assignments a week that are due in the class. And then you'll notice there are a couple weeks where we don't have a discussion forum. So usually we have a discussion forum, but like week 5, we won't have one. Thanksgiving week, we won't have one. There will be an extra credit discussion forum, but there won't be one for a grade. And then finals week, we won't have one either. So the textbooks are listed here. As far as plagiarism goes, y'all know how plagiarism works. My thing is, I get to see your writing in the discussion forum enough that I'll know what type of writer you are. So just write your own papers. Don't buy a paper. Don't have somebody else write for you because I'm going to know. And then I'm going to call you out and give you a 0 for it. So don't do that. As far as the grades in the class goes, here is the grading scale. And here, the class is out 1,300 points, which is a lot. I was never a fan in college of the professors that were like, well, you take one class, one test for midterm and one test for finals, and that's your grade. That makes me panic. I was like, I don't want all those stakes on one assignment. So I'm a big fan of a balanced class. So you'll notice that our papers are worth a lot of points. The first 3 are worth 100. The research paper's worth 200. The exams, I say exams, they're going to be like quizzes, are worth 25 points each, and then the final's worth 100. The online assignments are worth 300. The discussions are 280. Your final reflection is 20 points. So it all ends up being 1,300 points. So the reason I give so many assignments and have so many points is that, occasionally if you're sick a week, and especially with COVID going on, if you're sick for a week and you miss out on an assignment, it's not going to be the end of the world, right? Now, your papers, definitely turn your papers in because the paper grades, since there's so many points, your papers need to be turned in, but the other assignments, you have a little wiggle room. So if you don't feel good or something happens, then you've got some wiggle room to still get an A in the class. With that being said, though, I have a very strict deadline policy. I am a stickler for one thing, and that is turning work in on time. If it were a job, you've got to do stuff to a deadline. You can't go past it unless there's extenuating circumstances. So you have at least 1 week to do all of the assignments. And for your papers, you have 2 to 3 weeks. And I open stuff up a week ahead. So you technically have 2 weeks to do all of these assignments. And so because you have all this time to work on the assignment, I do not accept late work at all. No. You're responsible for completing work early if you know you're going to miss a deadline. You're responsible for contacting, communicating at least 24 hours ahead of time if there's a technology error. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, what if I get on Sunday night and my internet isn't working? If you know you have spotty internet, don't be waiting till the last minute to do an assignment. That's college rule number 1. Be on top of time management and being responsible. So you may have to go to a library, get a Wi-Fi hotspot, go to main campus, go to a friend's house. You may have to, I've been on trips where I've been to a gas station at 10 o'clock at night, turning in an assignment. It happens, but you need to be responsible and understand what your technology situation is. So you need to know, do I have reliable internet? If I don't, I need to make sure that I have a plan to go somewhere with reliable internet so I can do assignments, do tests, turn stuff in. And don't wait until the last minute. I know that we have those deadlines for a reason, and you're like, well, it's due Sunday, so I can turn it in Sunday. Just be sure you're on top of it. Our tests, when we get to them, they'll shut off at the deadline, so you can't work over the deadline. And then, like I said, I don't accept late work. The only exception is if it is something outside of your control. If Sunday a family member passes away and you've got to go do stuff, obviously I'm going to work with you on that. So if it's something outside of your control, I will work with you on an individual basis for that. But if it's something like I waited until the last minute and then my internet went out, the lesson is don't wait till the last minute. So just be on top of that. That's the one thing I'm a stickler about. I'm very reasonable with everything and will work with you, but I will not accept late work unless it's something that's of an emergency situation. And you can see our attendance policies. My policy is if you don't do any assignments for a week, I'll send out a starfish notification and I'll contact you and say, hey, you didn't do anything in week 3. If you don't do anything in week 4, I'm going to drop you. And I won't accept students back in unless they had like an A in the class or something. So be sure that you're on top of that. And then skip all that, and the rest of the stuff is just supplementary. So yeah, that's pretty much the class in a nutshell as far as my attendance policies and things like that. I don't give a participation grade, so it's mainly that you turn the work in on time. So this is module 1 for the class. So on the modules page, if you go down here to module 1 and click on it, this is the module for the week. So I'm going to put the lecture video right here. You just can't see it yet because I'm recording it as we speak. But you can see the syllabus. There are a couple sections that I would like you to read this week. So the art of short fiction starts on page 5. It'll talk about the 7 elements of fiction and nonfiction, which are really important. Plot, it's going to talk about on page 14 to 16. Writing effectively on pages 22 to 24. Point of view is pages 22 to 26. So you can see these are really short sections, only a couple pages. And then character on page 73 to 75. And they'll just go over some bold terms that are important and some general information about each of those elements that you may need to know going into your papers. So you won't have to tell me what you're writing your first paper on, but I want to go ahead and show you the guidelines are here. I'm going to go over the guidelines next week in module 2, but if you want to, you can go ahead and look at the guidelines for paper 1. You've got some options. Your options are you can either construct your own short story using the 7 elements of short story. You can analyze and review an existing story that's not in our textbook, or compare and contrast 2 or more stories from chapters 1 through 14 in our textbook. And I'll talk more about this next week, but you can go ahead and look at that if you want to, just to be brainstorming some ideas. And then in module 2, when we talk about the thesis and outline, I'll go over that in more detail. But for module 1, the only 2 assignments you have this week are the discussion forum and the first reading response. So I'm going to put them up here. The discussion forum is on this discussions page. You can see I'm clicking there. And so this is just an icebreaker. The way our discussion forums work is that each post is worth 20 points. So, or that each discussion forum post is worth 40 points altogether. 20 points goes towards your post. Like how you answer the questions and what you write. And then you need to respond to at least 4 peers per week. So each peer response is worth 5 points. So as far as length of discussion forums, I know a lot of students they say, well, how long do you want our discussion forum posts? I hate putting a word count on it because as soon as I put a word count, that's what you're going to do. Like if I say it's 250 words, you're going to write me 250 words, even if it's all fluff, right? And I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that with your responses either. So my rule of thumb is, as long as you, in detail, answer the questions completely, that will work for the post. And in your responses, as long as you give feedback, because think of it this way, we're doing this class, our discussion forums are in lieu of us meeting face-to-face and talking in person. So if someone had just told you all this stuff about themselves, like what their major is, what their biggest strength as a writer is, what are they hoping to improve on in the class, and what their favorite text is, if they told you all this information and all you did was look at them and say, cool, that'd be weird, right? That'd be so awkward. So your response should be based on their answers. So if they say their favorite text is Lord of the Rings, you can be like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing that movie when it came to theaters and blah, blah, blah. And you expand upon that and respond. The idea behind this discussion forum is to create a dialogue talking about each week the things that were being asked. So I want to know what your major is. Why are you taking English 122? Even if it's just, I have to. What's your biggest strength as a writer? Yes, you do have one. You wouldn't make it this far if you didn't. So some students are great at writing conclusions, and some are great at writing introductions. Some are great at talking about their ideas or being creative. What is your strength as a writer? You have one. What do you think it is? And then what do you hope to improve on in the class? If you're not good at writing conclusions, maybe that's something that's a goal for you in this class. Or if you're not good at citation, maybe that's something that's a goal. And then what is your favorite text? And I said text because it can be a specific movie, a novel, or a drama, or a TV series. I just want to know specifically what is your favorite movie or TV series or novel or drama or magazine. What is your favorite text that you're currently reading or watching? Because technically movies and TV shows, they are scripts. They are written texts that are being acted out. So I'm just curious what your answers are for those. So this post here is worth 20 points. Your responses are worth 20 points total as well. And everything is due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So that's your discussion forum. And then your reading response, you do need your textbook for this assignment. So make sure this week that you have your textbook. Go to the bookstore. It's open 8 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. Go to the bookstore, get your textbook, and then you should be set. But your textbook, your reading response number 1 is to choose and read one of the stories from pages 6 through 13, and I've listed them here. Choose one of the stories from pages 29 through 68, and then choose one of the stories from pages 75 to 114. So there's 3 stories that you're looking at here. They're short stories, so they won't take you long to read. But in your response, I want to know, in the first story, what element of short story does it use most effectively? So this first story, does it use setting best? Does it use character best? What element does it use the best? In the second story, how does it use point of view? Why do you think it was chosen as a representation of the point of view element? Explain your answer. And then finally, with your third story, describe the characters of it and why you think that it was chosen to represent characters in our textbook. Are the characters round? Are they flat? Are they in depth? Are they complicated? Are they simple? Explain the characters. And then finally, which of the 3 stories do you like the best and why? Which do you like the least and why? So your answers don't have to be long because this should really just be over a full page in length, double spaced. I mean, by the time you answer all 4 questions and have like a brief intro and conclusion, your answers aren't going to be very long. I just want to know specific concrete details as to answering these 4 questions. And that's it. So that is the reading response number 1. So yeah, those are the assignments for the week. Everything is due on Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So you have the entire week to work on the assignments. Obviously, it won't take you that long, but you can kind of map out throughout the week when you'll best do those assignments. As always, if you have questions, please make sure to ask me. You can email me if you go to the people page here. You can find me. I'm right here. And you can send me an email. You can click on my name and you'll see my biography, things like that. And then you should be able to send me an email through the inbox feature here on your Canvas page. If you go to inbox and you start a message, you should be able to find me and you can send me a message. So yeah, but that's pretty much the class in a nutshell. I'll be posting the lecture video here in Module 1. If you have any questions, please let me know. But otherwise, I'm really excited to have you as a student in the class. I love teaching this class. I feel like our discussions, we have a lot of fun with them. I've had some really great semesters of students over the past few years in this class online. So I'm really excited to get to know you all and to have you in the course. So with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll see you all again in Module 2 of English 122. Bye.